Oh, look at you. The Dragon Slayer.
I'm trying to figure out how to make myself.
Wow, I like the new camera from the above view.
There we go.
The Grinch who stole Christmas.
Remember, inch by inch, your test is a Grinch.
Oh, that's just too funny.
I'm sorry, Brian. What'd you say? We're live right now, Brian. So
Very
be
good.
careful. All right, let's get started, guys. It's our weekly live stream. Let Brian and I know what. Let me get Brian on there on the screen. Let's kill this one.
Look
here.
at you. 3 views now. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I'm trying. I'm stepping up my game here.
Yes,
Anyways,
you are.
let Brian and I know what series exam you're taking when you have a question for us. Put a Q and then SIE or 7, whatever the case it is. That way, Brian and I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out, well, is it appropriate for your exam or not appropriate for your exam? So that would be helpful. It also lets us distinguish people who are just chatting amongst themselves, which is encouraged. You know, victorious test takers talking to folks, and it helps us pull from the chat what's going on. We always like to start with brief. Brief is what you can encounter. Debrief is what people has encountered. Now, remember, every draw is different, and we're not allowed to ask you particular questions, but we can say, what do you think we could have done a better job preparing you for? Series 7 debrief this week is pretty standard stuff we all know. I say 20 questions, give or take 5, low side 15, high side 25. And, debrief people, tell me none or they tell me 40. So for what it's worth, this guy said he had 25. He's victorious. I believe him. He said he had 2 tax questions. I think a lot of test prep vendors go overboard on taxes. It's pretty straightforward. We're not accountants, but we have to have a general understanding of how taxes impact investments. Pretty standard stuff. I don't think you'll find anything there that should throw you for a loop if you prepared for that. On 66, I got a great 66 debrief. This is a recap of the guy. He got 2 fixed annuity questions. He got 3 or 4 open-end versus closed-end mutual funds. I can't stress to you enough. I think people underestimate how many times on every exam you're going to get tormented with open-end and closed-end funds and how they're different. So, make sure you know that. Heavy on state rules. 1 question about agent notification to the administrator. 1 on the federal investment advisor representative notification to the administrator. He had 1 on the capital asset pricing model. 2 discounted cash flows. 1 time value money. Please pay attention to this next point. No math. He had no math. So he just told us he had 2, a capital asset pricing model, 2 discounted cash flows, a time value, and then he says no math, which proves that what I say, and I'll defer to Brian, is it's mostly the inputs and the outputs and recognizing them. Not can you actually do it? Can you pull it out of a lineup is the way I say that. 2 bond questions. 1 of them included duration. Duration is the fancy word for volatility. Would you add to the math on 65 and 66, Brian?
65, yes. 66, no.
Okay. And then he said 35, 40 questions were just, pretty straightforward. I also had the pleasure of tutoring somebody for Series 9 this week. And I get nervous when people, sign up, they're testing right away. And I don't want to stalk you, but we were doing the session Friday. And I was encouraging him, not because he needs to sign up for another tutoring session, to stay in touch with me. He didn't. So I'm not going to, bother you if you don't want to be bothered. And good news, he passed, but he said it's another standard thing people always say on the 9. He got 2 or 3, sophisticated advanced option strategies, which I always tell people, do I want you to get them right? The answer is yes. But you could guess be assigned to the universe and still pass, as he did as well. So, Brian, by the way, I'll put Brian's email. I don't know if you're on the live stream, but somebody did inquire to me, Brian, about your tutoring. And I told him that you're $90 an hour, you're available. And I'll put your email because I told him to join us tonight and he could meet you in person. Well, almost in person, virtual person. All right. So on the channel, you find your series playlist. That's where you find all your videos. So if you're taking the SIE, you hit the SIE playlist and all the videos come up. On the 7, there's 6 unique playlists. And so, you want to find the playlist. So they're in suggested sequential order, but it's a buffet. Take what you like, leave what you don't. I also post extra content, and I'd be interested in your input on this. I do little 10, 15-minute explanations of questions that people have. And to keep the channel from getting crowded, I usually post them on the Facebook page or the Reddit and not on the channel. I, for the first time, did a couple video explanations that I did post on the channel. And I'd be interested in whether you think that's productive and you'd like it on the channel, or do we just keep it in the basket where it's at presently? So let me know your thoughts on that. We have 2 discount codes available for you. It always hurts my heart when somebody doesn't use the discount code. I don't get compensation from Kaplan, but the discount code is Guru10 at checkout. That gives you 10% discount on all Kaplan products and services. I highly recommend the QBank as a paid supplement if you don't have it, and the quick sheets. And then Brian, the test geek himself, who you can see in the frame there, has been kind enough to give all our viewers a 20% discount on his content. And I'll put his contact information on there as well. And I do not receive compensation from Brian as well. So let's see. Whoop, that's not what I want. Let's get to our comments. Let me just get Brian's information. If you are here seeking Brian's information, there it is for you. So if you were the person who made that inquiry, there's that contact information for you. All right, let's get busy with some comments here. Woohoo, a victorious test taker. So I didn't worry about you, Richard. Usually by people's participation, I can kind of know whether or not they're going to pass. And, you know, what hurts my heart is when people don't participate. You know, I do believe there's value in it. So, yeah, I'm trying not to stalk people. But like when we have somebody who shows up on the Reddit and we've never heard from them before, and then they tell us they missed their mark and they, you know, say, what should they do? And I just kind of, my heart wants to say, well, gee, couldn't you have reached out to the community, you know, weeks ago? Or, you know, so Richard, I knew based on that, I thought you were going to do well. So kudos to you getting that P, as Brian says. So thanks for popping in. It's always good for morale. You're always welcome here as a victorious test taker. By the way, you're always welcome too if you're not a victorious test taker, but you know, it's good for morale for the other folks, right? There's another victorious test taker as well. Hi, you know, again, you can tell people, you know, passing your exam is more a function of dedication, discipline, and organization. Now, I joke, if you have one less of one of those 3, then you got to double up on the other one, right? So if you're not organized, you better be more dedicated and disciplined. And if you're not dedicated, you know, so anyways, you can kind of tell again, as test takers who are executing those kind of study plans. And I wish, to be honest with you, the people like Richard and Vidya, I wish you would get a score because you deserve it. Because, you know, you worked hard, but we don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
All you get is the P.
Yeah, that's all you get. You get a score, it's bad. It means you missed the mark. Yeah, it's like booking an airline flight. So it depends where you're at. But Richard's saying that hard to get a time slot. I had another person. I don't know where you are in your study execution of your study plan, but you got to get a test date. You know, your brain won't do well. So we had a guy that, I don't know gender wise, but in social media, and they were saying that they're burnout, they're down on themselves, you know, they're not scoring how they'd like. And I told them, I said, well, you know, I asked them when their test date was, and they'd been studying for 6 months and didn't have a test date. I said, you need to get a test date because, you know, why do all that? And, you know, I basically said, get a test date, take a few days off, and you'd be surprised when you come back refreshed and reset how your score might go up dramatically. But please, you know, when you initiate the study plan, you should have a test date already. That's not something to study and then get a date. Get a date and then reverse engineer whatever your study plan is going to be. Right on. 2 victorious test takers. I think both you guys are done. I think they're done with their trifecta, their hat trick. I think they did the SIE, the 7 and 66, as I recall. Philadelphia, one of my favorite cities, the burbs
Mine
of
as well.
Philadelphia. You are welcome, Al. You got any questions from LinkedIn? Let us know. Let us know. That's what we're here for. Exempt securities and exempt transactions. Also, whenever issuers and munis don't have to register with BDs, well, issuers, munis don't have to register with anybody. So let's just take care of that right out of the gate. So munis don't register with BDs or investment advisors. So exempt issuers would be the big ones are the government and munis. So, you know, Brian has a nice cheat sheet, Charlie. And, you know, again, I find myself promoting my friend Brian. I don't mind doing it because he deserves it. But he has done one of the best jobs, I think, of what do you call that thing? The cheat sheet?
Class
Am I
notes.
thinking the right thing?
Quick notes.
Class notes. And in that class notes, that's his PDF. If you just want the PDF, I think it's with our discounts like $36. all in on Brian with his videos and all that stuff is $80. But Charlie, to answer your question, I think Brian has done a very good job of making kind of a chart where he just shows you all that stuff. I also have a little video on it. It's not as good as Brian's PDF, but it's there for you in the 66 playlist. Yeah, Brian?
May I add one point to this?
Sure.
I get a lot of questions from folks who take the 66 on this very topic, the exempt securities versus exempt transactions. Notice we get 0 comments from people after they pass.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
not
Charlie,
as big of an issue as those textbooks.
Brian,
There may be 1 or 2.
and Charlie, you have 2 Victoria 66 test takers in the room who can address that as well. Charlie, I'm looking at our timestamp and it's at 10:50. So what I've been doing in the replay list is timestamping 10:50, and I'll put there a video for exempt issuers and transactions. So if you check the replay tomorrow at 10:50, there'll be something that I'll try and dig up that might be helpful. It might be one of Brian's free YouTube videos. It might be something from me, but we'll give you something. We'll give you something. You know, what I'm avoiding. So Charlie, one other thing on the live stream, Brian has a whiteboard. He loves his whiteboard. I love his whiteboard. But by the time we start going through that laundry list of exempt, we'd be here forever. One other thing I would add, Charlie, I don't know if this is helpful. I think of exempt issuers as a noun, and I think of exempt transactions as a verb. So what I mean by that is it's a noun. It's a issuer is the U.S. government, a municipality, a charity, a noun. And then an exempt transaction is a verb, how we sell it. You know, less than 10 offers, things like that. It's a verb, and it's how we're selling it that makes it exempt. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's the way I think of it. Woohoo! Yeah, I call it style drift. So I haven't done that. But a lot of people want me to start a different channel where we do investments and stuff. But, I don't know about Brian myself. I'm busy enough doing what we do already. I don't have any recommendations for other channels like that. Do you have any other sources, Brian?
For
Just
deepening knowledge and investments, you know what I would recommend? Find out what your firm likes.
Oh yeah, gee, Merrill. If you work at Merrill,
that's the next step. What your firm does.
Almost every firm has either a training department for its reps or its customers or both.
That's the next step.
Ooh, wow! There you go. That's more than the trifecta or the hat trick. That's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The cinco. What do we call the cinco? We got to come up with some
5 securities and life insurance.
Wow. Oh, I love that. Salutations. I love that. I'm going to steal that. I say greetings, test takers. So maybe I'll steal that. I don't know, Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Hill. I'm going to steal that. Greetings, salutations, test takers. I love it. New to the community, past your SIE, working on the top off training consultants. Be careful with training consultants. I highly recommend a supplement, whether it's a free supplement of my channel, whether it's Brian's supplement, but make sure you beef up that training consultant stuff. So, Zine, I know you're a worker, man. I know you're a worker. We don't go over option splits in the live stream, but again, we're at timestamp 1336, and I will link a video for you. I wonder, Zina, what test you're taking, because unless you're taking a 4 or a 9, I don't think that's a big deal. It's pretty straightforward. If it's 2 for 1, what do you think, Brian, on the splits of the option?
Is there still one on the Series 7?
I haven't heard of anybody tell me anything about an option
about splits, because it used to be on the old legacy.
Yeah. Well, the old one, they actually have a lot of stuff. So, but Zina, unless you're taking a 4-9, if you tell us you missed your mark on 7 because you didn't know how to adjust a option contract for split, I'd say, I'm not so sure I believe it. The even splits are pretty straightforward. The trick, Zina, is always to make sure that the aggregate exercise price is going to remain unchanged. And with that, you can almost reverse engineer what the correct answer would be if you get asked such a thing.
There is a shortcut that you can do, that you can use, that you don't have to go through all the math.
Yeah. Zina just came to me while I was talking. I'm gonna Brian Knopman of Knopman Marks has a really good video where he goes over adjusting options. So I'll link that one for you. There you go. Iron sharpens iron. I believe in that too. I believe in that. Somebody was giving me grief about competing, and when I said, listen, competing is good. It's a healthy thing. It's not a bad thing. So there you go. So there's a victorious Charlie test taker telling you one question. We always love, the other reason we love victorious test takers coming to pop in and visit with us is because it's hard for you to believe Brian and I, even though if we misled people, I like to tease, and sometimes I tease when it's not funny. So if you don't know me well, I can assure you that if you think I'm being snarky, it's usually just my sense of humor you don't appreciate. And I get it. I mean, a lot of people don't. But anyways, I had somebody, I said, no, I'm misleading you. I mean, that's how I make a living, is by misinforming people about what they're going to encounter on their exam. So it's always nice when we have somebody who can confirm, what we're trying to do, which is prepare you for the exam. So there you go, Brian. Brian's got lots of fans, big fans. So we're going to have to come up with some buttons or secret decoder rings or something. Yeah, Zena, won't be a big deal. So, by the way, the video I'm going to post for you is not even for the 7. It's actually for the 9 or the 4. So I'll leave it to you in terms of judgment about whether you want to do that or not. It's kind of like, Zena, I have a video on butterfly spreads, and I get 9 people and 7 people telling me, you don't have anything on butterfly spreads. I said, well, I do. I have like an hour on it, but it's in the playlist for registered option principles. It's not in the playlist for 7s or 9s because I don't think you're going to need it. But well, I don't think, we're agnostic about your study vendor, your prep vendor. I don't recommend training consultants, but if your employer is giving it to you, I don't think it puts you at risk on the SIE. I just think it's a little thin. So I just recommend two vendors. I recommend having a supplement, free or paid. Training consultants, because I think it's a little thin, just my own opinion, and Past Perfect, because I think it's too thick. It's got too much. So, I think that STC and Kaplan, I think strike that middle ground between, not too much, not too little, just right.
Huh.
I think 65, I find that people who struggle with that, every exam is different, but people who struggle with the 65 really struggle with the 65. But I think it's an individual thing. I don't think it's a test thing. The test is the tests. And,
it's an age-old question. I've gotten this question more than any other question on the planet.
Yeah, I got to tell you, too, the other thing I would say is that the 65, people are coming to it sometimes with a lot less base. What I mean is they might have not even have a 6, but if they have a 6, maybe it's years ago because it doesn't require prerequisite. And people who are coming into the 66 are kind of in that victory mode, that test-taking victory mode. They got the victory on the SIE. They got the victory on the 7. And now they're coming to the 66, and they're kind of in that nice rhythm, so to speak. So I think it's more of a rhythm thing. But it's the same thing. I've had people think the 66 is tough. Well, AK, there's 2 versions of the AK, right? So an AK is a reportable current event, right? And so, a reportable current event would be like the CEO resign. Oh, here we go. Disney had to file an AK, right? Chapek is gone and, Iger's back. That's an AK. The other use of an AK is within 24 hours to fix a violation of Reg FD. So, Charlie, 2 questions. I'd leave it to the victorious test takers to say whether they saw an 8K. Yeah, I think very low probability. What do you think, Brian?
It had been in the past, but I bet you I haven't heard it in 2.5 years.
Okay, there you go. By the way, the other thing that's great about this is, Brian and I are on the front line. So we're the ones that are, we're getting constant feedback about what people are encountering on their exam. Well, that's what there. I think we got that one already. Okay, is that it? Are we going to have an early night? Nobody has any other questions? That's amazing. We don't mind. I got the NBA. I'm a huge NBA fan, and I got the games queued up. So my Warriors, don't tell me what's going on because, I want to know. If nobody has any other comments or questions, we will call it an early day. I think with the holidays, I was talking to my mom, Brian, about whether we should go dark for the holidays on the live streams.
Right.
And, Mom said, no, there might be people testing. And, so we'll probably continue on with the live streams, even though we know that, the holidays are coming up. And I'll probably go dark on the channel in terms of new content, maybe a couple weeks before year end, just to, everyone wants to come up with their New Year's resolutions, that kind of thing. So anybody else? Okay, well, I guess, Brian,
Wow.
Yeah, that's the first time we've had that get out early. I got no problem with it. Oh, here's one at the bell. I'm getting closer to starting final exams again for the top off using past perfect.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned with past perfect, I would say two things about suitability. Let me start this way. The three styles of questions you get on the test are recognition, practical application, and judgment. You can't be giving up recognition questions. That's kind of like T+1. You can't be giving up practical application, like what is current yield? You simply get it right or you get it wrong. Judgment questions, about 10% of the exam are judgment questions. That's where you can't memorize it. And, that's when people fail, even though they're getting high scores, is because they memorize stuff. Judgment questions where you go, Now, almost all suitability questions are judgment questions. There's very few exceptions to that. One would be, should you buy a muni or a corporate? You do the math, and the math will tell you what you should do. So you got to really embrace that kind of a suitability question. The other ones are kind of like you get a 50-50. Like I had somebody took exception with my practice question about whether the appropriate answer is a 529 or a zero coupon bond. But in the question, I said they want to have a set sum of money at a future date. And that means now the 529 is no longer a viable answer. So yeah, Brian's pointing to his board there. Just let me give him some more real estate. And so both Brian and I believe the way to attack suitability is through product knowledge, knowing the investment vehicle themselves, so you can then reverse engineer it. I always use the car dealer, right? Investment vehicles. I have a lot of investment vehicles on my lot, and you come in and I'm going to do some data gathering and I'm going to say, no Ferrari for you. A Ferrari is clearly unsuitable for you. What you need is a minivan. I'm joking, but so the other thing is a lot of on the actual test, a lot of the suitability questions are negative. It's not what you should do because there's a lot less consensus on that, but what you shouldn't do. For example, I can't imagine any draw on Series 7 where you don't get asked to recognize that partnerships have a lack of liquidity. So that would be clearly unsuitable for somebody who needs liquidity, right? So there they would have the accepted, that negative format where they flip it on you. And then you got to recognize what would be clearly unsuitable given an investment objective of liquidity. And you pick the partnership out of the mix, the direct participation program. So that would be the other thing I would tell you is make sure you know the negative parts of a question, like volatility in bonds. Or I did one the other day, somebody was struggling and they didn't get the generate additional income. It means you're not buying a put. Income means you're going to sell the option. So that would be what I would say. Brian, what would you say to that?
I think I've got a perfect example to what you just said.
Well, we don't want to hear that.
Especially towards the negative,
Yeah.
where they're asking for what is least suitable for an investor who is subject to the AMT, right? There's one product, maybe two.
Yeah, no, for test purposes.
One, definitely, and that's the IDR.
Yeah. By the way, so you should know too that when we say test for test purposes, that means that Brian and I both know that in the real world things could be different. But we are stuck here in Series 7 fantasy land. At least you guys pass, you get to move on. We're stuck here permanently. So again, I had another person who took exception to an answer set where they were being asked to recognize that the 70 call would protect the short stock position. And whether it's a 70 call or 75. And again, that's a judgment question. The 70 call gives you more protection, but has a greater premium. 75 costs you less, but gives you less protection. So, what are you going to do? You got to kind of reason your way through it. Well, now that we gave the last minute here, we've got some more stuff coming into the chat. So
good.
Happy holidays, everybody. Happy holidays. So I'm wishing the best for you and yours and lots of testing victories. I think Kaplan's harder. Oh, there's another Grinch. I like it. Ooh, my doppelganger. Or is that a dinosaur? I don't know if that's a Grinch or a dinosaur. I think Kaplan's harder. The guy who's the subject matter expert at Kaplan, I just sent him an email today, is Chuck Lowenstein. And Chuck lives for this stuff. And I can tell you that backstage, I get into it with Chuck sometimes because he'll have a question where somebody will send me a QID and I'll, send him the QID and say, listen, I just went over with a student and this is ridiculous. Why are you doing this to folks? He thinks he wants to stretch your mind and hope it doesn't go back to the same spot. So by design, Kaplan is trying to be tougher than the actual exam. All right, Al, man, 1024, crazy. Well, thank you for your service. You know, I was in the Marine Corps, Al. I don't know if you told this. I told you the story, but I have a hoorah behind me. And somebody backstage said that I should take that down because it might offend somebody. And I said, well, if it offends somebody that I served in the Marine Corps, I don't know what to tell you. That's not going to be something that is on me. That's going to be on them. And then the person who never served, Al, said, well, it might be like an Army or Navy guy. And I said, well, that's a dead giveaway that you have never served the Republic, because only somebody who is not would think that would be an issue, because we're all on Team USA. We might kid each other, you know, but we're on the same team. So a lot of military folks do well in our business, right? Because we talked about that, what you need: dedication, discipline, and organizational skills. And, you know, the military armed forces do a pretty good job on that. 1213, Zena, you're working hard. I would, so this is going to sound weird, Zena, but stay away from option splits. I'm joking, but stay out of the weeds. I know you're working. I see you all the time on the channel, you know, interacting, and I appreciate it. And I see you participating in the lives. So I don't think, based on so far, that there's anything I would say to do differently than what you're doing, which is executing your study plan and avoid just, and if you're not sure, you know, ask myself or on the live stream, or Brian, or even if you're on the channel and you're watching a video or something, just put in the comment section, hey, Dean, should I worry about this? And, you know, that's what I would say. Stay on the, Zena, stay on the broad avenues and highways of the information. Don't go down any, you know, blind alleys or cul-de-sacs, which, Zena, I'm not sure who your test prep vendor is, but if it's past perfect, that could be easy to do. So, yeah, it's beautiful, Bennett. I highly recommend that. That's an excellent exercise. I actually have it in video form on my channel. So if you don't have access to that on the Kaplan website, you can access it in my suitability playlist, where you can watch me on a video do it with you. I think the main topics are function 3, which is investments. And in that category, function 3, I would print the test content outline provided by FINRA. And it will tell you in the test content outline, function 1, find a customer; function 2, open an account; function 3, put an investment in the account; function 4, what happens behind the scenes. And in that function 3, pay attention to options, munis, and mutual funds. Brian, you have any comments on that?
What to look out for other than suitability?
Yeah.
Options, munis, mutual funds.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Richard, I'm with Zena. So Richard, our victorious test taker, is saying study options much more than you think you need to. If you can go in with confidence on options, even though you may not get the performance opportunities you wish based on the work you put in, just that feeling of confidence, knowing that, you know, whether you're using a T, you know, Brian and I track money in and out in contract specifications. But, you know, if you get good at contract specifications, Zena, you're not fumbling around with a short put as an obligation to buy, and you know that's money in, and you can track money, then you're going to say, give me 125 option questions. Now, you may not get there, but, you know, if you can, it's such a feeling of confidence. I think it bleeds into other areas. I'm working with somebody who missed their mark. And again, this is a common way to miss your mark. I don't want to scare you, but, you know, people memorize. I love the options matrix. Brian loves the options matrix. We love the teeter-totters. And I don't want to sell short memory work. But if all you do is memorize stuff, then you can get a draw where you're struggling a little bit on stuff. So given that you can intellectually own something, or you've memorized it, I think you're in better shape. So Richard, I'm with you on that. And what I would say, particularly in the area of options, you know, you want to continue to work. And I know when you're not getting the positive feedback, it can be hard to stay with it and keep working. You know, with options, what happens, lights go on and then they go out again. And they go on again and they go out again. So you just got to keep working. All right. Woo, Semper Fi, Semper Fi. Saturday be out. There you go. Woohoo, Benjamin. Brian's videos. Woohoo. I think Brian is the best at putting this into plain English. You know, I try, but I've been in the business too long. So I struggle when somebody doesn't understand a word that is, you know, a word that I'm familiar with, because I've been using it for 30 years. So, and I think that's where, you know, Brian is as he says, a bridge, right? From the legalese, like, you know, safe harbor, to what that really means in English. So, all right, well, get some sleep, Drew. We'll be sending you good test vibes, so get some sleep. Sleep is underrated because you remember you want your reading skills to be in top form. Yeah, I think so. I think so. That chart, I think he does
That's
the
that
best job of,
person's chart. Yeah.
of organizing that.
Yeah.
Oh, Benjamin, I'm sorry. Yeah, we broadcast to Twitter and we broadcast to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I think I'm seeing your comments now. I don't know if you switched over back to YouTube, but that's good input for me to know that people on Twitter can't put back or comment in a way that we can see. So now I know. Retired Navy. All right. Same thing again. We're on the same team. The Navy is the taxi cab for the Marine Corps. I'm joking. The way there's nothing. They've retired some of the ships now, but back in the day, I'm dating myself. I don't know when you retired, but there's nothing like watching a 16-inch gun shoot off a battleship. It looks like a flying Volkswagen. So. Is there a discount? Well, yeah, there's certainly a discount. It's a 20% discount. Do you want the link to? What do you want me to give them? Link? I can do both. Hold on. So Brian, here I got it for you.
Okay.
So there's the Teachable, and you get a 20%.
That's where my videos are.
Yeah, that's where the videos are, and you get a 20% discount with Guru 20. And this is Brian's email. So there's the videos where you can find the videos, and this is where you can find Brian. You want your website, Brian? What is that? TestGeekExamPrepLLC.com? Is that it?
TestGeekExamPrep.com.
Perfect. So just without the Brian, you get the website. Okay, cool. Okay, back to the grindstone. Switch to YouTube. Yeah. Well, Benjamin, thanks for joining on the YouTube and switching over. And thanks for letting me know, because that is something that I did not know. So now you can comment. If you're on Twitter, we won't be able to see your comments unless you switch over to join us on Facebook or LinkedIn or the YouTube. Okay. Well, it looks like we've exhausted again. Anybody got anything else? We tried to get out here one time, Brian. Let's see if we're going to get out to this time. Okay, I'll do a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. By the way, every once in a while, Brian's Guru 20 pass thing, I guess he's got to renew it like every 6 months. So if for some reason you were buying Brian's stuff and you don't get the discount, either call Brian or call myself and he'll reset it. You only give Brian's info out if they want to pass. I tell him he's too cheap, Benjamin. I tell him every day, I say, you should charge more for that. I think his tutoring is a screaming deal too. It's $90 an hour. And I think that's way too cheap, but he doesn't do it for the money.
I make too much money as it is.
There you go. He's, he makes it on the, he's got a side hustle. I'm joking. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Brian, I think Brian's smart enough to know why he prices the way he does. And I do think he wants it to be accessible. And I think he wants it to make sure it's not going to break the bank on somebody who's got to pay their own way, so to speak. So, I don't know where that price point is. I think it could be higher, Benjamin, but at what, 150? What, I don't know when you run into test prep vendors. So Benjamin, I'm going to get in trouble. I always get in trouble with this. So here I go. I'm stirring it up.
Love the input.
Benjamin, a lot of people recommend Achievable as a supplement. I'm not talking about Achievable as a standalone paid study material for a Series 7. I'm talking about Achievable as a supplement. And what I always say to people who ask me, this is why I'm persona non grata with all the, people who are in the Achievable cult. I love Brandon. I love the content. I have a problem with correlation on their final exams, but you can get, for less money, you can get a Kaplan Q Bank with my Guru 10 discount code. And you can go all in on Brian's videos. And those two paid supplements together, the Kaplan Q Bank and Brian's Brian's everything. That's his videos, his PDF, his practice final, which has strong correlation, comes in, I think I've done the math. I think it comes in about $20 less. So I think it's a better investment, less money. So that's just my personal opinion. So There you go. You know, he's building up karma. I'm the guru and he's the test geek, and he's probably getting more karma than I'm getting. You know, he may not have to come back. This might be his last run through. Right?
No. This is too much fun. I love this.
If you come back, what do you want to come back as, Brian? What if you're reincarnated, a baseball player? Or I know you like sports.
Yeah, I want to be a starting right fielder.
There you go. There you go. Did
But
you play
not for the-
sports?
well, I won't say what team. But
Okay. Did you
I'll keep
play
it
sports in high school and college or high school?
I played basketball, actually.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My eyesight's not good enough for baseball. You got to have 20/10
To
vision.
pick up that ball. Oh man. Like I say, I'm an NBA fan, and boy, it's so neat to see all these young men and women, even the WNBA, just who's coming up. I mean, I was thinking I'm an old man, like, oh, you're not all that, and then man, like watching Ja do his thing, and no, it's just crazy, just crazy. There's one, I forget what this kid, I forget, I call him a kid because relative to me, he's a younger man, but he was saying, hey, LeBron's got to prove to me he's better than I am. Oh, I like the hubris.
Wow.
Watch out, LeBron. Here comes. Okay. Anything else? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get the P. That's a P with a candy cane. Is that what that is?
Okay. I was just trying to beat you.
Remember, as I always say, inch by inch, your test is a cinch, as Brian says.
You take the test. Don't let the test take you.
And then those who requested, remember timestamp 1050 on the replay tomorrow. There'll be something on exempt issues and transactions. And at 1336 timestamp, there will be something on adjusting option contracts for splits. Is there any other requests that you want to see in the replay? Any kind of a video or any video requests before we get out of here? Okay, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Bye-bye. We're going to stay live through the holidays. So even if it's, Brian hasn't signed up for every Tuesday. He's nice enough to grace us most Tuesdays, but I'm in for the holidays. So we'll continue to run the lives through the holiday season. The 27th is the 2-year anniversary of the YouTube channel. So maybe we'll try and figure out something to do. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.